We've had 2 shooters in a row. You know the pattern. It's time for a new weapon class. Inkbrush. Okay, so it's classified as a roller in-game, but personally, I consider this to be its own weapon class. It has a continuous roll, but makes a super thin trail of ink at the fastest out-of-ink movement speed in the entire game. Its swings cover a much wider fan area than a roller, and it's very good at covering turf. But it kind of evens out because it lacks the high damage and huge hitboxes of its roller cousins. Its damage per hit maxes out at 28 base damage. Why do I say maxes out? Well, despite being one of the absolute shortest range weapons in the game, its damage peters out over more distance a heck of a lot more than you'd expect. I have seen it bottom out at 16.5. Its fling releases 3 blotches of ink arranged in a fan shape every time you press the button, while running into an opponent with the roll does a whopping 20 damage. Pretty darn weak. Unlike traditional rollers, it is almost always better to rapidly swing than to just run someone over from behind, because if you run into someone with a roller and you don't kill them, there will be recoil that pushes the player back a few steps in somewhat of a stun. Though, I do think the greatest insult to injury you could ever do in Splatoon is picking someone off at low health by running over them with an Inkbrush. That is my dream. If you don't seabag someone after doing that, you are not human. That is too much to resist for even the most devout of souls. When it comes to covering turf, the swing is optimal if used from higher ground or when jumping. Jumping does not increase the range, but it does cause the 3 blotches of ink to fan out wider when they normally have a little bit of overlap. The main reason that you would want to play a brush over a traditional roller is being able to aim adjust during attacks. Getting used to doing this and playing it more like a shooter than a roller is key. Now, on to fighting. Okay, I've been dreading this one. It is the 5th shortest range anything in the game. The only weapons that it outranges are Luna Blaster, Splooshomatic, Carbon Roller, and Blaster. And 3 of those 4 are dangerous one-hit kill weapons you wouldn't want to get close to. That, coupled with the fact that it's a super slow 4-hit kill, is tough to deal with. I do have one tip for combat, but it's hard to pull off. Standing at a slight distance on the ground and trying to make the overlap between 2 of your 3 ink blotches hit the enemy in a sweet spot is ideal. This will allow you to kill in 3 or in some cases even 2 swings rather than the usual 4, mitigating some of its slow time to kill. But even with these tactics, the combination of low range with low damage and low time to kill makes the Inkbrush at a disadvantage against nearly every weapon out there. And not only that, because the damage peters out so much over distance, as we've already seen, I'd say that when it comes to your effective killing range, the only weapon that you actually outrange in a meaningful way is the Splooshomatic. Even when you can get within range, it's not uncommon for other weapons, if they haven't already noticed you approaching, to turn around and kill you before you get off all of your swings. It is a valid strategy in some cases to avoid combat and just be a painter, but if going on the offensive, it's generally best to cover as wide of an area of turf as possible in order to outmaneuver the enemy or hide an ink for a sneak attack. A strange weakness of this weapon that I don't understand is that even though it has very sharp handling and moves very fast when rolling, it's bad at turning left. It's held in the right hand, so the trail of ink is slightly on the player's right side. It's possible to get stuck in enemy ink even though you are rolling if you turn left too sharply. It's dumb. Oh, right, there's actually a sub-weapon on this thing too. Sprinkler. In addition to the usual uses for the sprinkler, it can work very well as bait for an ambush and is one of the more reliable ways to take out enemies with the Inkbrush. In the way of turf coverage, think of this as you creating yourself a teammate to throw at the side of the area that you want to get done twice as fast. I like to think of the Inkbrush as that awkward kid with no friends. So they make robots to give themselves friends, only to watch them die, so they build another one. As depressing as it is, think of the sprinkler and brush as 2 halves of the same whole. Its special is Ink Strike. Everything about the set is about covering turf. Not much about to say this that we haven't already heard. It's how this weapon deals with snipers and can get past choke points. This isn't much more than just a fun Turf Wars weapon. There is fun to be had running around super fast and throwing ink all over the place. When the main brush has an awkward combination of short range, bad damage, slow time to kill, damage petering off, I would already say that it's the only main weapon that's outright bad at fighting. But overall, this entire set is probably the worst kit at fighting anything. I've also seen some people that believe that run speed up will improve the roll speed on an Inkbrush. This is not the case. Don't run it. Let's get on to something a little bit better. Inkbrush Nouveau. Has the same stats, even the special depletion is the same. An alternate use for the Inkbrush is to be a distraction because of your high movement speed, and this setup is better suited for that. Its sub-weapon is Ink Mine, our first time seeing this, and how fitting that what's possibly the worst sub-weapon in the game is getting introduced alongside the Inkbrush. These are basically invisible splat bombs, but only one can be laid at a time. They explode when an enemy is detected moving near it or after 10 seconds, whichever comes first. You can also reset the clock on an Ink Mine by placing another one in the exact same spot where it was laid down. There's a few uses for these. Placing them in choke points, placing them before going into battle to get a kill from beyond the grave if you fall, placing it when being chased, or just placing it on the tower in tower control. A lot of people do like this in tower control, so if you're seeing a lot of the same weapons being run in that mode, this might be why, since it's tied for being the least common sub-weapon. A strange weakness of Ink Mines that I'd watch out for is that most rollers are capable of just simply rolling over it and not taking damage as long as they keep moving. Technically, all weapons can move away from it as long as they're checking for them by shooting ahead or just by swimming away right as they see it about to blow up, but this one is a particularly bad case. With the ridiculous roll speed, plopping one of these behind you in a chase is an effective and very mean tactic. Lets it blow up on somebody while they're chasing you. And its special is Bubbler, allowing it to make more mistakes, but with its range being so abysmal, I would not recommend making any sort of direct approaches with it. Instead, it's great at giving a bubbler to a friend if you're going together with them. All around, this is a clear improvement over the original, and it is a little bit better at fighting. Though honestly, I'd probably say it's the second worst set in the game, with the regular Inkbrush taking number 1. Can Sheldon come from the heavens and save us? Probably not, but we have the permanent Inkbrush anyway as the third kit. Same stats, special depletion is the same, and yes! At least I won't have to be so wishy-washy about this one. This is the super cool set that is intended to be played in ranked rather than Turf Wars. Its sub-weapon is Splat Bomb. Having a one-hit kill that can also serve to manipulate the opponent gives this set more of an edge. Even if it can just get off splash damage on an enemy, a follow-up swing can kill very fast. And its special is the Kraken. Do I need to say anything more? This pushes objectives, and it makes it so much less vulnerable than it was on the first two sets. We haven't talked about the Octobrush yet, that's coming later, but if you play that and want to try something new, the main sub and special of Permanent Inkbrush is a nice blend of the Octobrush sets, and it might be something you'd like playing for fun every once in a while. Heck, this weapon gives you more reason to pack swim speed up on it because of the Kraken, so if you're running that way, your run speed of your roll and your swim speed are going to be amazing, and you can move ridiculously fast. Permanent Inkbrush, you're not so bad.